Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Video Store Memoirs. My name is Jana, your drunken hostess for the evening, and with me as always is my drunken co-host, Kevin. Say hello, Kevin.
Margaritas rule!
Woo! So today, the day that we are recording is October 21st, 2023. Right?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Yes.
You got the year right.
I got the year right. Yay. Now, it does not pertain specifically to this movie, but it does pertain to the franchise. So, we watched a very special movie today in honor of the date, and I'm going to let my co-host tell you what we watched and what we're going to talk about right now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, we've been drinking.
Yes.
And we've been drinking and watching one of the greatest time travel movies of all time.
Some of us are still drinking.
And in case you didn't know, today is Back to the Future Day. So in honor of such of a movie, of its greatness, we decided to watch it while having a couple.
Yeah.
So, as I stated before, this to me is the greatest time travel movie of all time. It's got one of the greatest casts, and it is written out perfectly that inspired an entire trilogy. But let me just go to the people at IMDb and let you know exactly what this movie is. Back to the Future. Marty McFly, at age 17, a high school student, is accidentally sent 30 years into the past in time travel in a DeLorean invented by his close friend, the maverick scientist Doc Brown. Agree?
Yeah, that's pretty spot on for IMDb.
I have watched several movies here and there that have to do with time travel. I'm sorry, this is one of the quintessential movies that pretty much all those future movies that I watched after this came out base themselves around. Some of the movies' rules of time travel are all taken from this movie. Don't interact with your parents because there could be ramifications. Don't interact with the past events because they could cause a butterfly effect in the future or your present whenever you get back to it. But I digress. I love this movie. And I believe my co-host, who is about 2 margaritas in,
3.
loves it as... Okay, sorry, 3. Loves it as well. I mean...
Absolutely. This is... Absolutely, I agree. The best time travel movie series that has been created.
Yes, I will agree. Series.
And it is better than even its predecessors. Time travel movies that came before it. Time travel stories that came before it. I think because it puts in not only the science of time travel and how this might happen and all of the ramifications of interacting with past and in later movies in the series interacting with future and like what could happen, but the writing in this movie is amazing. The acting in this movie is amazing. It's got enough snark and enough funny to like keep you entertained.
Absolutely.
And like keep you giggling throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those movies you can watch over and over and it doesn't get boring. I mean, all I gotta say is thank you, Robert Zemeckis, for realizing that your lead actor at the time, his name is gone from my brain at the moment, realized it wasn't working perfectly. And they were 3/4 of the way through this movie, and they decided, stop production, we need a better lead actor, and in comes Michael J. Fox.
Eric something, dude who played Mask.
Yeah, I don't remember the gentleman's last name.
Something. He was the main actor in Mask, and he was originally Marty McFly, and it did not work.
It wasn't working. The chemistry was so
the beginning
off.
Scenes, and it wasn't working. And they went, and Michael J. Fox was originally going to do it, but his schedule wasn't working because of family ties. And then something happened, and when they realized Eric wasn't working, and they still wanted Michael J. Fox, then they were at a break on the show Family Ties, and then they were able to work it out, and then boom, brilliance.
I mean, it's really crazy. Yeah, I mean,
Eric
Eric
Stoltz.
Stoltz.
Sorry.
Thank you. It's
It
really
just came to me.
amazing that they were almost done with the movie, and it just wasn't clicking with the producers and the director. They're like, something is off. So they went back to square one and brought in Michael J. Fox, and the rest is history. That's all I gotta say, is because the chemistry between the three lead actors in this movie it's absolute brilliance. Hell, four, because you gotta count in Crispin Glover every single time.
Oh yeah, Crispin
George
Glover.
McFly,
It's amazing.
like one of the greatest nerds of all time.
I will say, for the first time in the 30 plus years that I have been watching this movie, for the first time watching it oddly while intoxicated, which is funny that that's what caused me to catch it. It's the first time I picked up on the fact that there are some time gaps in a movie about time travel
Yes.
that aren't gelling with me. So while I think this is an amazing movie and I love everything about it, I did pick up this time that when he first lands in 1955, so the setup of the scene is that he has to meet Doc Brown at 1:15 a.m. at the mall.
At the
for
Twin
little-
Pines Mall.
For the little setup, and like it leads into the introducing time travel, introducing the DeLorean. The Libyans coming because they're mad that he gave them a fake bomb to try and get the plutonium. He gets shot. Marty takes off, gets in the car. He's trying to race away and save his life. Inadvertently, time travels back to 1955 to a random date that Doc had just programmed in.
No, not a random date.
Not
It
a
was
random date. November
specific-
5th, he programmed in because that was the day that the idea of the flux capacitor first came to him. He wasn't really planning to travel there. He was just showing him how the mechanics worked the car and typed in that date. But when Marty was trying to escape from the Libyans and ended up trying to get to 90 to outrun them, forgot that 88 miles per hour is when this thing does its magic. Boom, he travels to the past. So it's at this point about 1:35 in the morning.
No, here's where I'm gonna, like, even if I still agree with you wholeheartedly, but still, testing the car, sending it into time, jumping over 1 minute to come back at 1:22 in the morning, and then resetting, loading new plutonium, Libyans finding, killing Doc Brown. Let's say he took off at about 2 in the morning, and that's
Okay.
how we ended up at
Even
November
if we
5th.
jump. So later in the movie, they try to say it was 1:35 a.m. when he traveled. But even if we give grace to that and say it was more closer to 2 a.m. when he landed in 1955 in the farm that used to inhabit where the mall is.
Yeah, Old Man Peabody's farm.
Suddenly, after getting there and having some interactions, he stumbles into Hill Valley. It's daylight and it's like 8 a.m. and school's about to start. And it's like, dude, say we landed at 2 a.m. in the farm, which is only about maybe 20 minutes from his house. He had to walk, so he's not driving, but still, he had to walk from the farm to where he thought his house should be, find out that it's still being built, it's not even there yet, then walk to center of town. By then, it is daylight and 8 a.m.
Yes. And, it's Saturday. So it explains why his father is at the local cafe.
Where did those 6 hours go?
Marty McFly is the slowest walker in the world, apparently. If he doesn't have a skateboard, he is the slowest moving person in the world because apparently walking 2 miles took him 5.5 hours.
Not to mention, the time was actually lost a little bit before that, though, because as our lovely producer and Kevin's wife Shannon pointed out, is when he lands in the farm and is being shot at by the farmer, the sun is already almost rising. We've got to imagine at that point, it is at the latest 2:30 in the morning. The sun does not rise at 2:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
even in California. Earliest sunrise, I'd say 6 a.m.
Something to that effect, yes.
So we lose some major time.
Maybe it was daylight savings the exact moment he kept back, No.
But that is the biggest and the only discrepancy I found in this movie, and the biggest flaw I found, and I can look over it because the rest is a masterpiece.
Yeah, I love Robert Zemeckis. This movie is a masterwork. There's a reason why I am on the wholehearted bandwagon of movies that do not need to be remade. This is one
Oh
of them.
Lord, please God, no. Do not ever let them attempt to make the Back to the Future
I've heard
trilogy.
rumors that they want to do one and it would be starring Tom Holland.
No!
Do not mess with this movie. I put this up here with Wizard of Oz. Do not fuck with this movie.
No.
Leave it be. Let Marty McFly and let Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Crispin Glover, and Leah Thompson live in infamy as these characters.
Yes. Yes.
It's just too good.
I am fully on board. This does not ever need to be remade with anyone else. This movie is a masterpiece on its own. Leave it alone.
Just make any movie, like, make any other movie about time travel. I mean, this movie trilogy itself, you know, made remakes of itself. Because Back to the Future 2, they basically went into the future and did the same events that happened in Back to the Future 1. Okay?
They go back in the past first.
Yeah, they go back in the past. Then they go back to and go into the far future. No, sorry, they go back in the future, go further into the future. Then they go back to the past to realize how to correct everything. I mean, leave it alone.
Yeah, yeah. It does not need to be touched. It is a masterpiece on its own. Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, Crispin Glover. They are magnificent at what they do. Robert Zemeckis is a god. Do not touch these movies.
Steven Spielberg produced one the hell of a movie. And I'm sorry, I know he doesn't get enough recognition, but Tom Wilson as Biff Tannen. I had the pleasure of meeting this man at Comic-Con. Like, this man is a national treasure for being the greatest asshole filmed in life.
But not even that. Biff Tannen in the entire series playing 4 very different versions of the same character.
Yes.
Depending on how life threw the chips at him.
Yes.
There is Biff the asshole, both as a teenager and an adult.
Correct.
There is Biff the adult version that is cowarded and now answering to Crispin Glover's character, George McFly.
Correct.
There is Crispin Glover in the present day who has elevated beyond asshole to like Kingpin.
Yeah, sorry, Biff.
Biff, yes, sorry. Biff, I told you, alcohol. Margarita.
This is why I'm here, to make sure you stay in line.
Biff, who is elevated to Kingpin, basically.
Yeah,
in
that's
part 2.
an accurate statement.
And then in part 3, old Biff, who is upset with the way his life has happened and trying to go back and fix it because he realized where he fucked up and what he wants to fix because he didn't like where he ended up after Marty McFly interfered with his life. 4 very different versions of the same character, the same guy, just changed by life circumstances.
I'm looking at the list of the cast right there. I did not realize Billy Zane played one of Biff's crew.
Oh my God. He did. Name was Match. He's not even named in the movie, but he's one of the flunkies.
He's one of his flunkies who, took Marty and threw him in the back of the car.
Look at that. One of the flunkies' names, though, is 3D. We all know who that is, right?
Yeah, we know exactly who that one is.
The
guy walking around with the 3D glasses 24/7.
Aptly named character.
But let's just leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. This is a timeless classic, pardon the pun. Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, Crispin Glover, Tom Wilson, directed by Robert Zemeckis. You can't go wrong with this movie. I defy anyone to come at me and say that this movie sucks. Because, I'm sorry, nobody's got the balls enough to say that, because there will be an entire nation of followers of this movie who will be ready to take them down.
That and all of Gen X. Like, this was our time travel movie.
This is our generation's movie. There are so many movies around there that have essence of time travel. This is a movie based solely about time travel.
This is the Gen X time travel movie. It is our movie, and you leave it alone and let it stand as the masterpiece it is.
Universal Studios, I love you. I love half the movies you've ever come out with. Do not mess with this national treasure. That is all.
Okay, so with that, we will leave you with just a quick tidbit about Back to the Future and how awesome it is. Do you like time travel movies? Do you have a thought about Back to the Future? Let us know. We want to hear from you. We are all over social media. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We are on Twitter, and we are on YouTube. On Facebook and Instagram, we are at Video Store Memoirs. On Twitter, we are at Video Store Mem. And on TikTok and YouTube, we are just Video Store Memoirs. Hit us up. Give us a like. Give us a follow. Give us a comment. Let us know what you think. We want to hear from you. With that, my name is Jana.
I am Kevin.
And we'll see you in the future.
Back to the Future.